Hey y'all, so excuse me if I'm not looking fabulous right now. I'm still on the med from that damn cold. First things first, I finally, after like a month and a half now of waiting, I finally got the falsies that I ordered, and of course because the bag is so ridiculous, yeah, they're those magnetic ones. I like the other ones, so I thought I'd try a full set and see what I thought. And I'll try that later, but took them long enough to get here. Anyway, I have more questions for y'all, and this one is going to be a little longer because there was no topic. So I'm going to do 20 questions in this video because one of my French question askers had a very good question, and I thought it needed to be touched on for very obvious reasons. So, excuse me. First one was, what celeb is an example for you? For this one, I said, because I was like really into them, Miranda Lambert and Nelly Furtado, because they're not afraid to be themselves and just be like however they want to be. What kind of costume would you wear to a fantastic party? My inner geek. Like it, the person put like a picture of an alien, so alien emoji. So my first thought was Sailor Moon or one of like the Sailor Senshi. I love them like so much. Like I would pretend to be Sailor Jupiter, and then of course as I got older and I started realizing there was more to Sailor Moon, because on American and Canadian TV they sort of stopped it after a certain point, because like when they start bringing in the other scouts, first they tried to play it off as cousins, but cousins don't talk to each other that raunchy, guys. Like, so you're trying to hide the sexuality of two of the Sailor Senshi, you know what, I can't say it properly, two of the Sailor Scouts, and that just doesn't work. And then later on, it gets even more, because there's actually three, I think it is. I think there's three of them. The Sailor Starlights, and they're boys, but they turn into girls, so it's sort of like the whole trans gender thing. Okay, what sites do you use for learning other languages? This one was hard for me. I actually tried to teach myself Russian using Google Translate. I've never actually like gone online and like used Rosetta Stone or something like that to learn other languages. Like my first initial I think at a young age for language was French, and it was very minimal, and it was like French Canadian, because my uncle is from Quebec. So I picked up a couple words from him. And then as I got older and I hit school, the elementary school I went to, before they brought in the French immersion program, they were predominantly, they had shut down, the school board had shut down the Native, or the First Nations, school on the reserve. So the First Nations students came to the school that I grew up in. So we started learning some of the Klahamin, which is the Slam and First Nations part of their language. So I know not much, but I I know one word off the top of my head that I still remember. And then later on I started taking French in elementary school. And then when I went to middle school, I started taking Spanish. And that was the language that I took to most. And it kind of comes in handy because one of the groups I'm in, there's a lot of Latinas in the group. So they'll start randomly saying something in Spanish. I'm like, I know that word, I know that word, I know that word. And I'll still have to use like Google Translate for some of it. But at least I like know some of it that I'm like, I don't need the extra help. And I also know a couple of words in, oh, that glare, hang on. I know a couple of words in Filipino because I worked with a couple of lovely ladies who, super sweet, like all of the Filipinos I worked with, they're like the sweetest people ever. And one of them, she actually like viewed me as a little sister. So she asked me if I would start calling her ate. And me being the curious kitten I am, was like, oh, hey, Carla, like, what does that mean? And she told me, she's like, it means big sister. I was like, oh, my God. So she, from then on, she was my ate. And I was, like, so heartbroken when she left. But I was so happy because she got to be with her family. What would you choose, no teeth or tongue? I love my teeth, but I like to talk, so I'd rather have no teeth, and because then I can get like falsies or whatever. But with no tongue, I couldn't talk, and I couldn't do that because then I couldn't make videos and talk to people. I'm a very sociable person, especially when I'm working. I love being in like the customer service environment because then I get to talk to people and meet all these super cool people, and I just love it. What song makes you feel goosebumps every time you listen to it? So I kind of went, and this one took me a moment because there's so many songs I listen to, but there was one. Ugh. Haha, very teary. There's one, it's called I Believe by Diamond Rio, and it's pretty much about how, you know, like the music video is shot in an accident, and this woman is dying, and her boyfriend is like trying to revive her, and this ghost, like you don't see he's a ghost, but this guy, he comes out of the woodwork, and he's like super calm, and he like gets everything going for her or whatever, and she comes back. But it's pretty much one of the lines is, for people who don't see the most, see that I believe in ghosts. I'm like, even when I'm thinking about it, I just get little goosebumps because I know there's like, there is no end. Like, we may fear the end because we think that's it, but there is no end. Could you live without a TV set or music? No. No. I'm all about my music. I couldn't do it. And I'm like, I can't live without TV either because I am addicted to Untold Stories of the ER. And I'm like, oh, can't do it. Nope. Nope. How do you feel about anime? What is worth seeing? Oh God, I love anime. So the first anime that I ever watched was Sailor Moon. But of course, for some people, it wasn't Sailor Moon, it was Dragon Ball Z or something like that. I think Pokemon is classified as anime too, I think. But mostly like, you know, Dragon Ball Z, Naruto, Sailor Moon. But I would, there's a huge list. So, worth seeing. So I would recommend, of course, Sailor Moon, Naruto, Rosario and Vampire. It's not the same as the manga, but it's still pretty good. The same with Fruits Basket. that wasn't too bad. I kind of lost interest in the end because it went off on a tangent, and that one didn't follow. There's also, I loved Vampire Night. And there's also Seven Deadly Sins. And I'm thinking about starting Fairy Tale. Another anime that I have watched was Midori Days. Like, I've seen so many anime, and I've like read so much that I love it all. And some people swear by Bleach and stuff like that. So it's like, you gotta find what you like. But I would recommend though, definitely Naruto, or yeah, Sailor Moon for sure. And even like, I love though, like, I'm addicted to it. I'm waiting for Netflix to come out with the next episode. Seven Deadly Sins is like, holy cow, I love it. Would you like to do anything creative? Always. Always, always, always. And what would it be? So I've been like back and forth on writing, and I'll like not finish something because I'm like, oh, it's not good enough. And because like my main goal used to be like, I wanted to get something published, but it's like, is this good enough? Is it not? So then I start second guessing myself, and then I like put it in my closet to the back because I'm like, no, this isn't good enough. But it's like, writing is like definitely one of my many passions. What are you most looking forward to? I can't remember what I said for this, but it was like, I can't even remember. That's a good question though. I hate it when that happens. I'm actually at a loss for this one. Right now though, I'd have to say, if I can get my hands on a goddamn homemade bacon egg McMuffin, I would look forward to that. Like, holy shit. Like, not one of those, like, poached McDonald's eggs ones or whatever. Like, it's gotta have, like, the freshly done at home, like, the over easy egg. That's just, like, oh, God, I'm hungry. Oh, I need food. And my buddy, he asked me this: what Hogwarts house do you belong to? It took me a while, which I'll upload the link if y'all don't already know. But I am a Gryffindor, so I am brave at heart, which kind of had a feeling, because, you know what, I always knew I was a Gryffindor, and it's not because I loved Harry Potter, okay? Which later, not gonna lie, turned into the, oh my god, Neville Longbottom, but we won't get into that, because that's, yeah. But, yeah, so I'm Hufflepuff, and I'll drop the link to the quiz in the description for y'all. Okay, so that's the first 10. Here we go. Ooh, got another question that popped up. Do you want to go kayaking? I don't know why. I was always afraid to go kayaking. But after I went canoeing, it was just like, I'm like, okay, you know what, I can give it a try. If I flip, I flip, whatever. Would you rather live in a huge house or a cozy compartment? Would you rather live in a huge house or a cozy apartment? For this one, I couldn't choose. I can't stand living in an apartment. I've been there, done that, never again. But I don't, like, I grew up in a big house, but we also had a bunch of people piled into it. So I kind of went half and half and said, well, how about a small house? Like, I can do that. Anybody can do that. Okay, so this is the question that sort of served a topic. I really don't want to do the French today. Okay, I'm going to give this a try. Que pèse... Yeah, that sounds weird because I'm nasally. Tu de... racism et the homophobes. So pretty much 2 words you can understand in there is racism and homophobes. So pretty much what they're asking is, what do you think about racism and homophobes? And what I said without, you know, because this is a big topic for me. Because like my views, like I said, I've been immersed from a young age in culture. So it doesn't matter if it's like, you know, like I said, the natives, the First Nations, their culture for a bit, and all this stuff. Like, what it comes down to for me, like what it really boils down to is fear. So you have all these people. So let's say you have this person come in or whatever, and they're totally new, don't understand what's going on and what have you, and they're scared. Well, now you got 2 scared people in the mix. One is scared because they're like all of a sudden in this sea of white. Like, let's say they came from, which I actually can use this as a good example, because my little sister, her best friend's parents actually came from, I think it was India. So I'm pretty sure they're, I think it was Punjabi or something like that. I can't remember the actual terminology, because this little girl had moved away, and oh, she loved me. I miss her. I miss little Naomi. But you know, the kids, they grew up having to go between, what are you doing? Translating. So they'd like go to school, learn English, and then they'd like go home and they'd, you know, try to help their parents out. But anyway, I digress. So all it is fear, like not knowing another culture. You can say hi, Annie? You can say hi? You can say hi? Hi! So it's like fear of not knowing another culture, or like not wanting to learn. So that's where like the intolerance comes from. And that's where the racism comes from. And you can like pretty much say the same thing about homophobes. Like, homophobia is pretty much, to me, like not wanting to understand that we're, to put it in Lady Gaga's words, we're born this way. Like, come on, baby, we're born this way. Like, I grew up with a guy who, like, nobody questioned his sexuality at all. We let him be him. And it actually, in middle school, I had this girl walk up to me and ask me, they're like, oh, is so-and-so a guy or a girl? I'm like, well, why don't you ask him? Why are you asking me? And she's like, oh, I did, but he pulled out mascara and walked into the boys' bathroom. It's like, there you go. And it's like, I just don't understand where people can be like ostracize somebody for being who they are, loving who they want. Like, it's fear. It's like this fear that's embedded into us for God knows how long, because we consider it as unnatural because of what the Bible says. But if you actually like read the Bible, it preaches acceptance. Just because the Creator was Adam and Eve doesn't mean this is the way it has to be. And like now you got people getting confused, and it turns into this big huge thing, and we don't need to turn it into a big huge thing. There's literally like the whole LGBTQ, I think that's the whole acronym, because I always get it confused because I think there's like extra letters or something in there. they're preaching acceptance. They want acceptance. And people's arguments are, well, why don't you do it for straight people? Well, because straight people aren't being ostracized for being straight. You've got families disowning their sons, daughters, nephews. Like, friends will actually stop being friends with their friends for it. It's like, you gotta accept each other. It doesn't matter what race they are. It doesn't matter what preference they are. And that's the thing too, like, racism can go both ways. I've seen so many posts where there was like the one challenge, it's called the hell challenge or something, where it's like you ask your parents, you know, is hell a swear word? And then you keep going. Well, the one video that went viral, it's the guy or girl, I'm not sure, doing it to the white mama, and the white mama starts crying. I'm like, I'm sorry, but if I did that to my mom, and she's white as hell, like she's Irish. I think she's got some Scottish in there too. But anyway, fiery red hair, pale as hell. She would beat the crap out of you. And that's what the black woman did. She like warned her son because he kept swearing, and then she just backhanded him. Like, I'm sorry, but there's like, you can't say that like white people don't discipline their children and black people go crazy. Like, that's not true. And there's another post that was like, how do black parents raise their kids? And it was one where it was like, forgetting your name and ended up calling, hey, you, or you know what your name is, or something like that. Like, and everybody does that. Like, I have called my baby sister, my 7-year-old sister, my daughter, because I'm like, oh my God, like, what am I doing? And I've confused my siblings too. I'm not the parent, but growing up, I've been like called my brother, my sister, I've been called like anything. Eventually they just settled for hey you. It works. But it's like, you can't, for some reason, we're thinking, and I realize I'm digressing, but we're thinking that different cultures raise their kids and punish them different ways. Like, yes, there's different outlooks. Like, for, in some, if you go to the Middle East, the Muslim culture, women have no rights. But if you come here, women have rights. So they've sort of got that culture shock if they don't know what's going on. But it's like, you can't say one person disciplines their kid, one person doesn't, and that's why we should hate them, and blah, 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 blah. Like, you're specifically putting them in this bad place. You're making these people go through hardship that they don't need to go through hardship. And I actually had this one girl, too, spouting off racist crap, like, oh, people get this, and this for being this. I'm like, no, they don't. They've had stuff happen to them in history that I, as a light-skinned person, do not understand. I can try by talking to my friends of these different ethnic backgrounds, but I can't actually understand because my ancestors have never went through it. Like, I won't understand, say, which is totally different because it's religion or whatever, but I won't understand what a Jew went through during the Holocaust because I didn't come from Jewish background. I didn't come from, like, my husband has relatives who were prisoners because they were on the wrong side. So they actually went into these prison camps and they had to break out. But I heard the most heartbreaking story from my best friend's, her great-grandmother, from her being in a camp. It's fear. It's all linked to fear. Every religion issue, every let's not call it homophobia. Like, let's call it every issue with the LGBTQ, what they're trying to, make right. and even racism, it's all linked to fear. If you actually like think about the person and where it's coming from, it's all fear. Racism has, and homophobia and all that, it has no color, it has no like rhyme or reason. It's stupid. It's, in my opinion, I could honestly like talk for hours about this, but I won't, because it's such a red hot topic and I don't like it. But somebody had asked me the question and I felt I needed to address it, and somebody who, you know, has made a lot of friends of different kinds, like it doesn't matter if they were transgender or gay or like black, white, blue, green, pink, purple, I don't care. Like, I just don't understand it, because it was how I was raised. Acceptance. Accept all kinds. No fear. Don't have fear. Okay, moving on. What's worse, born an orphan and live his whole life alone without parents, or born and live with his parents, but at age 7, he loses his parents in an unfortunate accident, and then he will live as an orphan for the rest of his life? This one was hard, but I had to say that the person who was born an orphan had it worse, because he never knew that love. All he's known is, I've never lived in the system. I'm quite lucky, but from what I've heard, there's all sorts of, you know, bad people who take into the system, and they like take the child and abuse him, because they're like, you know, they get they get help. They get help to raise the child. But whereas the kid who at least knew the love, he still has hope. That's what we need, is hope. This was a tough one. Who are you bored with the most? I couldn't remember the answer, because like I said, this was all these questions that I'm answering right now, they're from like a short while ago, and I had gotten sick, and but it's all on my Ask FM account. I don't know. I really don't know. I live a pretty mundane life, so I mean, nothing to me is boring right now. How many times have you been drunk? Okay, this is a fun one. Okay, so I actually had to think about this, because I've been drinking since I was 19. 24 now. But let's say that I've been drinking for about 19, 20, 19, 20, 21, 22. So let's say I've been drinking for 5 years, because I've been, you know, pregnant most of it, so that doesn't count. But I've been drunk, let's see, my 19th birthday. There was, I think it was my 20th or 21st birthday. There was a couple of times for sure, so that's 4 times, and then of course with my husband. So I think I've been like, I know for sure I've been drunk like 5 times. And because I'm a light drinker, like when I drink socially, I have like 1 or 2. When my best friend, when she makes my drink, which I don't trust her anymore, she'll put, and she's told me, she's like, oh, you don't drink that much, so I'll put 3 or 4 shots in yours. I'm like, bitch. No wonder I'm like puking my ass off at like 2 o'clock in the morning. Like, what the hell? I love her though. I love her so much. Okay, so moving backwards, moving on to another good question. What do I do? My mom caught me in her dress and I'm a boy. I was torn what to do, because I don't know the whole situation, but pretty much I told him he should have a chit chat with his mama, because if she was like my mom, she would totally like play with it and be like, ha ha ha, that's awesome, and like, you know, take pictures. But in this day and age, it's so rough. Like, I just don't know. So I just pretty much told him to talk to his mama. That's all you need to do. Who is your idol and why? I already answered that. It's just a totally different phrasing, i.e. who's celeb's an example for you. 2 more questions. Do you like to sunbathe in the summer? I would love to if I didn't turn into the goddamn lobster. This pillow, that shade of red is how I turn. A very bright red. It is not good. Dean, get that out of here. Looking like a freaking stop sign. But if I got a tan, I would love to. Perks of being pale, though, I actually have to wear some form of... Get out of here! Ah, you broke it! Light sweater in the summertime. And the last question, do people ever tickle your feet when you go barefoot? Not if they know it's good for them. I go for the attack if you go for my feet. Like, we're talking no holds bar. I'll kick your ass. Like, you do not touch my feet. The strongest part of my body is my legs, which I think that's true for anybody. The strongest part of your body is going to be your legs. They can hold you plus, was it half your size or I can't remember. They can hold about twice your size, let's say. So if you go for my feet, I don't want you to go for my feet. I'm going to kick you right in the face and it is going to hurt. Okay, but anyway, that was it for that. And I'm sorry for the long video. But I love you and I will talk to you guys later.